Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Check out the link below, fool.com/The Smattering, to get access to the 10 best stocks to buy right now. QuantumScape just reported its fourth quarter. Investors got the shareholder letter to go through, and there's some really positive stuff. And it looks like the company might be ahead of schedule on things that we did not expect to see at this point in its existence. Is QuantumScape really going to live up to its expectations and potential? I'm Jason Hall. This is The Smattering. I've got Tyler Crow here with me. We're going to talk about what's going on with QuantumScape right now. Hey, Tyler.
This is one of those that we've had our doubts about, but
Yep. I don't want to say it's a theoretical product, because we know in lab testing that solid state batteries can potentially be transformative, because reducing weight, taking a charge substantially faster, reducing some of the risks of traditional lithium ion batteries and gels and liquids and creating fire risk and that sort of thing. So like ticking off a lot of the boxes for things that the transportation industry is trying to fix. What we don't know is if they can produce millions and millions of them every year at a price that makes sense to stick them in cars. But Tyler, that might be changing.
when QuantumScape went public, not to, I sound a little derogatory calling it this way, but it was a publicly traded science project. It was a marvel idea that they had been able to test the concept of a solid state battery, or they call a no anode battery, which, basically what the idea being is instead of using typical anode material, which is kind of like a graphite material, it's just a solid state lithium battery, which basically, lithium metal directly, kind of fluctuating in and out of a cathode. It was a very interesting concept, and they had shown that in a lab we can get this to work. And so going publicly with that idea, then it was like, okay, from here we need to show that this lab idea can be scaled to a small prototype design. And then from that small prototype design that we can send to automakers, send to other battery users, they can test it independently, and then we can start to build something that would be of commercial scale. So there was a lot of hurdles here, and you go, there's no, like, the probability of this actually happening is so low, right? But what is surprising to me in this letter, and all caveats aside, like we're taking management wholly at their word here, because I don't think either of us are necessarily qualified to talk about the science of this enough to really get into the weeds here.
I have no chemical engineering professional experience.
I did.
So you're a step closer than me, yeah, right? But still not quite there. But I guess the key here is that you and I both are experienced investors. And we've seen these stories plenty of times in the past. We could talk about a company like Plug Power, for example, that actually has a commercial business, that has a product that it sells for money, but has a very, very long history of burning investor capital and issuing more stock and not actually generating a return. So there's a reality potential for Enphase of being some people that tell a really good story to raise capital, but never actually have a monetizable idea.
Right.
Taking that grain of salt, as you were saying, and taking management a little bit at their word, what did the CEO tell us?
The thing that they were able to do in 2022 was actually build a test, a prototype that they could send off to its potential clients for them to run their own tests. So far, pretty much all they had done is they'd been doing their own internal testing, with verified by third parties, but they hadn't actually sent off their product to somebody to have them, bring it in their lab. One of their biggest, clients, is Volkswagen. And so they basically were like,
also one of their large equity investors as well. Right.
So basically they've now built a prototype that can say, hey, Volkswagen, go test this, see what happens. And so far the prototype test results have worked to a most degree. They're still working out some kinks, but as weird, as small of a feat as that may sound in the grand scheme of things, of like, okay, we're going to go from a prototype to full-scale commercial production, that in and itself is like a huge hurdle, and it was something management said it was going to do on the timeline they were going to do it. And that to me is pretty impressive for all the things that we have heard in kind of the future of energy, barely anything has hit its timeline. Nobody has,
Yeah, lots
been
of
able.
promises get made, and let's be honest. Let's give a little bit of grace to managements of these companies. Their part of their job is to tell the story and
Right.
to get people excited about the potential. But
Yeah.
to your point, even when companies accomplish that, Tesla's a great example. This is a company that has accomplished amazing things, but essentially never when they said they would do it.
Yeah.
And for QuantumScape to do it, to say we're going to have a product that we're going to release into the wild to our partners to do validation testing, and do it in the timeline that was initially laid out there to the public, is a very impressive feat.
So in one sense, it's like, okay, this is promising, but then you look forward from here and go, holy cow, it's still a lot to do, right? Because now we have to go to a commercial scale product and commercially manufacture it. And that's where things are going to start really looking scarce, because for the most part, management are good scientists and have been good at proving out the viability of what was a lab experiment. Transferring that capability into, I'm going to build batteries at scale, which, I know, Jason, you have spoken a lot about the semiconductor industry. Battery manufacturing is not that far removed from the semiconductor industry in terms of the precisions, in terms of the, building lines and making that continuous manufacturing efficiency. I'm not saying that they're going to make it, but I'm not counting them out yet, because so far they've been actually able to deliver on what they've done so far.